Hi, this is Jessie Nolan, and you are listening to the Nerds of Wrestling podcast.
Hey, what is going on, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of What's Up Wrestler on the Nerds of Wrestling podcast. We have an exciting show for you today, and my guest at this very time is the girl on fire, Jessie Nolan. Jessie, what is going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm excited to talk to you. I've heard amazing things about you, and I'm excited to get to know more about the girl on fire.
Yes, I'm excited to be on. I told you a while ago that I was itching to get on here.
I know, that's surprising. I was like, "Oh, you were waiting to come on? Bet I got to get you on now." This is a question that's always asked every single time on the podcast. You listen to my podcast. I have to ask, and it's a question that has to be answered. We're living in a crazy time right now. What have you been doing to kind of stay positive right now?
Wrestling, honestly.
There you go. Yeah, wrestling has always been there for us.
Yeah.
There's so much wrestling though that is on right now, and just everything is going on. Have you been keeping up with the current product?
I haven't really watched WWE a lot. I haven't watched a lot of their product. I follow it on social media, so I always have a general idea of what's going on. I do watch AEW. I keep up with that. So I go to the gym like 4 to 5 times a week, and I would start my gym workout with like a good amount of cardio. And so I would always watch AEW Dark on Tuesday nights.
There you go.
Cardio. So I just kind of made it a habit, and now I try to keep up with it.
AEW is so good, and you said you go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. I can't relate to that. But let's skip that. AEW is such an awesome brand and such a just a unique sort of wrestling. I love how it's more. Correct me if I'm wrong for the people who are watching or listening. I love how it's more independent based, more than just straight WWE based. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of the guys listening and a lot of people watching know that AEW is straight. A lot of guys from the independent scene and a lot of guys who were signed to WWE as well. But AEW is something that I love and is something that I feel is doing extremely right. When you first started watching AEW, who were some wrestlers that you really got hooked to?
Sorry, I apologize in advance. I have 3 dogs and 2 cats, and they're all like right in this general area.
It's okay.
So when I first started watching, I was focused a lot on the women's division. I started watching actually right after Chris Statlander got injured, unfortunately. So I didn't really get to see her. I mean, I've watched her appearances since then on like YouTube and stuff. But I watch like I'm a big Britt Baker fan. I
love her. I love her.
Respect for her. I have gotten lots of makeup ideas from her for when I wear my gear. There's oh my goodness, there's so many. Thunder Rosa has been on there a lot lately. She is great.
Right. Yep.
And lately we've had like Bear Country. I love those too. They're great. I've seen a lot of people who I know personally that have, appeared on there. JD Drake, he's been on there a few episodes. He's one of my favorites. They have a very well-rounded roster, and there's really a lot to learn from their product.
Yeah, it's so, like you were saying, Bear Country and JD Drake. I know you know them, all those guys from Limitless Wrestling. We'll talk about Limitless very soon, but AEW just amazing. I love how you love Britt Baker because Britt Baker is one of my favorite women wrestlers. And I would absolutely die if I ever met her. I'm just saying, really quick. I don't know, as we're recording this, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker threw on a banger this past Wednesday. What were your thoughts about that match?
So I have not actually seen it yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah, so I've obviously seen, like, pictures all over Instagram, and I've heard that it was pretty bloody, pretty crazy, and,
Yep.
I was actually planning on watching that tonight after we're done.
There you go. Yeah, definitely check it out because it was a banger. Like they tore the house down. Growing up as a young Jessie Nolan, how did you really first start getting into wrestling?
So I've watched wrestling ever since I was a little kid. My dad would always have it on the TV when I would go see him. Um, Eventually, in like 2006, 2007, I started watching it myself, like more seriously. I started getting really into it, and I just always like, I don't know, I just fell in love with it. And it was something that I was very passionate about. Everybody, all my friends, anyone at school knew that I was like the girl who loved wrestling. Um, so yeah, I mean, I really credit my love of wrestling to my dad.
You're probably the same age around as I am, 26.
I am, yes.
Okay, so yeah, I talk to a lot of wrestlers, you know that, and every time I talk to a wrestler around my age, they always say I started watching wrestling around 06, 05, which is a hot time for wrestling back in the day. Like, for the young viewers who are watching or listening, like if you don't know how wrestling was, and obviously the Attitude Era was insane, but the Ruthless Aggression Era always holds a special place in our heart because that's when we first started watching. That's when we first got hooked into wrestling.
Yeah.
06, 07 was very hot year. That's when I started watching wrestling. I don't know, maybe you're the same. I started the first WrestleMania I've ever watched was WrestleMania 23 live on pay-per-view. And I was so excited. And every time someone says that's their first WrestleMania, I always get so happy because yeah, that's mine. Me too. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Do Do you remember your first WrestleMania that you've got to see?
I think it was definitely either 23 or 24.
One of those two. Yeah, 23 and 24 were both great. 24, obviously, a lot of everyone knows Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair.
Yes,
You
I
know,
definitely saw that live.
you had to see that live.
Yeah.
Funny story. I got in trouble. 3 days before the pay per view at school. My mom said that if I get in trouble one more time, we're not watching WrestleMania. So I had to be at
Oh,
my best behavior. Jesse, I was doing so good. I was doing so good. And then when was it? It was like I think it was like a Thursday or like a Wednesday. It was definitely like a Thursday. My mom found out I cheated on a science test,
oh.
and she was like, "Yep, nope, you're not watching it." I was like, Shh, "Dog." I was so I did not see WrestleMania 24 live. I did not get to see but I was very upset. They didn't even let me to go to my friend's house to watch it. Like my friend invited me over and my mom's like, "No, you're not going."
Aw.
Why? What the hell? I just cheated on the test. God, it's not a big deal. Relax. Jesus, it's not God, I didn't do anything illegal. Whatever. Tell us more about you though. Tell us more about how you got into wrestling and what made you strive to become a professional wrestler.
Yeah, so, sorry, that's my cat.
It's okay. It's okay.
Um, I like I said, like, everyone in school knew that I really loved wrestling, and I would just tell them all the time, like, "I wanna be one someday, I wanna be one someday," and, um, my sister, who you actually know, Rebecca,
Yep.
was going to Limitless events, and, I was busy, I was married at the time, and I was working, and
Oh wow.
yep. So she finally got me to an event, and it was Welcome to the Dance. And
Nice.
Tommy Dreamer was there, and that's really was like the selling point for me because I'm a huge Tommy Dreamer fan. Um, so I went to that show, and then I actually ended up going to a smaller indie show up here in like northern Maine. And I ended up meeting Randy Carver, who is the owner of Limitless. And they had just opened up a school like 4 or 5 months beforehand. And I had found that out. And I kind of like jokingly was like, "Hey, Randy, you should let me come train." And he's like, "Okay." So I
There you
did.
go. Well, shit, look at that. That's awesome. Limitless Wrestling is an absolute gem. I live in Connecticut and I don't drive. And so for me to go to a Limitless show would take a lot of convincing and a lot of begging and pleading for someone to drive me to a Limitless. I know it's like a good 6, 7 hour drive from where I am. So I remember I tweeted to Limitless like, bruh, I really want to go to a Limitless show, but it's too far of a drive. They tweeted back, it's worth it. I know I 100% know it's worth it, man. I watch the shows. I love Limitless. Randy is such a good promoter, and I'm so excited for Double Vision this week as we're recording this. Double Vision is a big pay-per-view as well. Christian Casanova versus Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia is one wrestler I really want to talk about. He's a monster. He's so good, and Daniel Garcia definitely has a bright future ahead of him. When did you first meet Daniel Garcia? What are your thoughts on him?
So I first met him probably right before COVID started.
Okay.
I was at a Limitless taping. I typically do ring crew for those, and I'm a big Daniel Garcia fan. My sister is as well, and she kind of got me into him as a wrestler. He's very humble. He's very like not serious, but like he's just like so focused when he's at events, and always striving to do the best he can in his matches. And it's really cool to see the transformation that he's made in like just the past year. He's dropped a lot of weight. He looks great. He's worked really hard, and he didn't let COVID stop him. He continued to work hard through that.
Shout out to the people who really took advantage of COVID because getting in shape, doing what they got to do. Me getting in shape, no, I did not. I think I gained a little weight, not too much, but I definitely did take advantage of the time. I definitely wanted to work out, but no, that wasn't gonna happen. Speaking of Daniel Garcia, he's gonna be wrestling Christian Casanova at Double Vision for the Limitless title. Daniel Garcia is my choice. And the past two wrestlers who won the Limitless Championship have moved on to bigger and better things. Anthony Green, August Gray, and Casanova, he just got signed to the WWE as well. Do you see that with Daniel Garcia if he wins the title?
I think he has a very great possibility of being signed someday. Whether it be, if he were to win the title on Friday, I don't know. I mean, I think he's worked so hard and he's put his heart and his soul into it. And so I absolutely think that he deserves to be signed.
Yeah, 100%. Growing up as a wrestling fan, you were a big fan in middle school, big fan in school. Were you like kind of made fun of for liking it, and did you kind of have to like keep it a secret?
Um, I don't think that I was necessarily made fun of. I think so. I was a very quiet, shy person growing up. And so everyone just kind of didn't expect it.
Really?
They're like, wait, you like wrestling? Um, but I mean, I would wear wrestling shirts to school and stuff. And I still have teachers to this day, like middle school teachers who I'm friends with on Facebook and like see me. Sorry.
It's okay.
See me
It's okay.
performing now that like remember me from, middle school and high school wearing my wrestling shirts and talking about wrestling and all that.
That's incredible. You said you started watching wrestling around 06, 05, as we discussed earlier. It was a very hot time for wrestling. Who were some wrestlers that you were hooked to and you were just instant fans of?
Hold on one second. This cat will not stop meowing if I don't pick her up.
It's all good.
I was a very big Dave Bautista fan.
Love it. Love it.
So sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So Bautista was my favorite wrestler, and then I ended up Nolan. Stop. My dog's name is Nolan.
Love it. Love it. I'm sure the nerds will love the dogs barking in the back. It's all good.
Hold on just a second.
It's all right. We got you. All right. Break.
Okay. So, I actually ended up a big CM Punk fan as well. So I started watching the newer version of ECW when that was on.
Yeah, that was absolute shit.
So I started watching CM Punk, and they're not making this easy for me.
It's all right. It's all right.
Give me like 20 seconds.
I got you. I got you. Go for it. Right? Ashley says, a girl that likes dogs just makes me a fan. Ha ha ha. All right, nerds. Now is your time to put in some questions and ask some questions to Jessie Nolan. I am gonna put a quick ad break here, so we will return soon.
I'm back.
All right, and we're back on this Nerds of Wrestling podcast for What's Up Wrestler. I am here with Jessie Nolan, the girl on fire.
Who has way too many animals in her house.
It's all good. It's all good. It happens.
Okay, so CM Punk, ECW, 2006 and 7. I ended up becoming a really, really big fan of him. He's someone that I still watch for like his technical wrestling. Daniel Bryan, big fan of Daniel Bryan. He wasn't really in WWE in that era, but he started pretty shortly after.
Yeah, 2010 with Nexus and all them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of really good influences from that time period.
What really drew you to CM Punk? Because CM Punk, so 06, 07 CM Punk was great. He was awesome in ECW, but I feel like he was on fire, obviously, around that time because he won Money in the Bank 2 years in a row at 08 and 09, if I'm not mistaken. But he really, in my opinion, at least, and hopefully everyone agrees, hopefully you agree, he really kind of skyrocketed his career in like 2010, 2011, especially with his feud with John Cena leaning into Money in the Bank. That match is one of the best matches I've ever seen. I don't know if you agree, but that's one of my favorite matches. But talking about CM Punk, what really kind of drew you to CM Punk?
I just felt like he was always like very underrated. And
Yes, yes,
I just noticed how good he was, and like I just felt like he deserved more opportunity than he was getting at the time. And so, when he went up and started on like Raw and actually started having title runs, I was like, finally, this is the guy. Unfortunately, the company did not agree with that at the time and
right.
left, but he's just so good. Like I couldn't tell you like one thing that really stands out. He's just like all around, like he's a really good wrestler.
Speaking of, yeah, he is very good. Speaking of underrated, though, who, in your opinion, is the most underrated wrestler in either WWE, AEW, or any other promotion that you keep up with? It's kind of hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Um, I mean, he just got some opportunities on AEW, but JD Drake, I think he is very underrated. From the very first time that I saw him wrestle, I was like blown away.
He's so good. He's so good.
Amazing. And, I'm really glad that he is finally getting on a bigger stage with AEW because he absolutely deserves it. But, he is a bigger guy, but he still moves. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So look at Keith Lee. Look at Dijak. I mean, look at these guys.
I can, I can watch him like be totally out of breath and still do a moonsault from the top rope. Like,
Right. It's nuts.
yeah, his matches are consistent. Like he's never like, I don't know. He's great. He really is.
Yeah, I was so excited for when I heard that he was good. When I saw that he was on Dark, he wrestled Kingston. That was so cool. Good for him because JD Drake deserves that, and I know JD Drake is a workhorse. And so shout out to JD Drake and for appearing on AEW, and I hope that he gets signed eventually or he appears more on Dark. Which is what I love about AEW Dark because you're not seeing all these guys who wrestle for AEW on TV weekly going on AEW Dark just to wrestle matches for whatever. You're seeing a whole bunch of new names brought upon us. I'm a big wrestling fan, nerds of wrestling here, and there's some names who I've never even heard of. I'm like, oh, okay, who's that? Who's she? Who's he? And that's what I love about AEW, especially AEW Dark for introducing us to new wrestlers. And they're not wrestling. They're not wrestling nobodies. Like they're wrestling like big names on Dark, Ray Phoenix, Pentagon Jr., Thunder Rosa. I'm pretty sure Cody Rhodes wrestled in the Dark episode before uh, a while ago. I could be wrong, but there's so much wrestling. I can't remember everything. So if Cody Rhodes have never wrestled in AEW Dark, don't come, commenting on this. Say, he never did that, you idiot. Come on, what are you talking about? There's a lot of wrestling. I'm just throwing names out there. But Jessie Nolan, as an independent wrestler, you know so many wrestlers who you've trained with, wrestled with, seen wrestle in person. When these names get signed to bigger companies like WWE or AEW, and you hear people who never heard about JD Drake before, or Casey Navarro, or Mike Verna before, just a bunch of names that have never really had a chance to shine on TV. When you hear somebody talk about them in a negative way, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think about? Like, what do you say to them?
I guess I would say don't base your judgment on the few matches that you've seen if they're like in WWE or AEW. I'd say, they're there for a reason. They got signed for a reason. They wouldn't be there if, the company didn't feel like they were a talented wrestler. And I would point them in the direction of YouTube because
Right, exactly.
have so many matches on YouTube that are amazing and have a lot of views and people are big fans of. So, you know, um, and like all these wrestlers on the main roster of WWE started somewhere. Like they started right where I am.
Right,
Train,
right,
had to go through the whole process of, climbing the ladder. And they had those smaller indie matches in like a tiny bar in Maine, like, for example,
right.
that you can find and watch, and those matches added up to the point where a company wanted to sign them.
Exactly. I love how you said, point them into the direction of YouTube because, like people like, they automatically judge them on like, oh, like why is he wrestling so and so? He doesn't deserve that. But calm down, bro. Like you don't know him. Go watch his stuff on YouTube. Like I'm not bashing just straight WWE fans, and I'm not bashing straight AEW fans. But if you don't know who a wrestler is, do your research before you say something negative because to someone else, like that's their favorite wrestler of all time, and they're seeing their moment shine, their opportunity shine because like I said, like you said, JD Drake, Mike Verna, Casey Navarro, all these there's so many more names to mention, but just all these guys getting a chance to shine on AEW, and not only AEW Dark, even when WWE was having shows and you seen your local independent wrestling talent wrestle in a dark just a quick little um I don't want to say jobber, but a squash match, because I don't know. I know jobber is disrespectful. Well, I don't use that term anymore, but even seeing them wrestle in WWE for a quick 2 or 3 minute match, that's something that's very cool. But you always have these haters, haters are gonna hate, but just let them hate. But like you said, point them into the direction of YouTube because you don't know who they are. So yeah,
Yeah.
quick bit of advice there, nerds. Sorry, I was like rambling on there. I get very passionate about wrestling, especially like these indie guys who get signed, and I know them. Like, don't be talking shit about Christian Casanova, bro. Like, go do your research.
Yep.
Uh, you know, tell us about training, and I know that you said you talked to Randy and you were able to train for with Limitless. What was that like? From and not only as a fan, but like as a person just stepping into the squared circle for the first time and taking your first bump or running the ropes for the first time? What was that like?
It was scary.
Yeah, no, I bet.
um, it's your body moves in ways that you never ever thought it could, or you at least didn't think that um you didn't think that it could without getting hurt, like seriously injured. Um, man, I like my first class, I didn't even know how to get in a wrestling ring. Like I had never been.
Oh, so you never like wiped your feet on the canvas, like you just like separate. Oh,
I had my first class with Alexander Lee,
yeah.
and I was like, how do I get in?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
So I started from the very bottom, and I was like fairly athletic before starting to wrestle, but now it's like if I'm not in the gym like 3 or 4 times a week, I feel like what am I even doing? It's so taxing on the body, and it requires so much maintenance to your body
yep.
or for your body. Um, so I really, try to focus on not just my in ring work, but my work on the outside too, in the gym, and watching what I'm eating and making sure I'm staying healthy, not doing something that's going to get me hurt,
There you go.
outside of wrestling.
So that's one thing on why I can't be a wrestler. I'm just kidding. So I cannot be a wrestler at all. I give you guys so much credit for going in there and doing what you got to do because I know it hurts. Like that, it's not a trampoline. Like that's the canvas is hard. Like it's a hard canvas. Like people say, oh, it's just a trampoline. You go in there then and take a back bump. Like tell me if it's a trampoline. What you talking about, bro? I'm not a wrestler. I know that's not a trampoline. You know you get a lot of backlash probably for being a wrestler and saying it's I'm not gonna say the F word because it's disrespectful in wrestling. What are your thoughts like when you hear people say that? Like what are your initial thoughts?
Um, I guess I don't know what you mean.
Fake.
Oh,
Come
that
on. Yes.
um,
Sorry. A little awkward there. Fake.
I'm
I
like,
was I wasn't gonna say the on here, but FAKE. I should have spelled it out.
it's okay. Um, if somebody walked up to my face right now and told me that, I would say, "You don't know the point of wrestling."
Yeah. I love it. I
Wrestling
love it.
art. Wrestling is, 2 people or more moving their bodies in a way that they are putting on a performance for people, um, and it's not easy.
Hmm.
It sucks sometimes. It's really hard on the body. Like, I can't even count how many times I've gotten, like, hurt. Like, I've hurt my ribs, I've hurt my
Oof.
shoulder, both of them actually. Like, it's just
Really? Oof.
yeah, like, it's so hard, and I think that people should not be able to say that wrestling is the F word until they actually
There
try.
you go. I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, but even as wrestling fans, we get a little irritated when we hear that word because the only reason why they say it's fake is because it's predetermined. Like that's your only argument. That's your only argument is because it's predetermined.
Mhm.
Come back to me when you got more arguments because that's not a legit reason. Uh like you said, you were into the ring for Limitless Wrestling. You didn't know how to go into the ring. I know Alexander Lee. What was his reaction when you said that?
Oh, he was totally cool about it. Like, I mean, he's like a really good person to train, the very new people.
Yeah,
Very good with like the basics, and he's very patient. Um, so he was totally cool with it. Like he was very helpful, and he gives really great advice. So
I love that. Shout out to Alexander Lee, the other guys too. Danny and Agro as well from MSP. MSP is one of my favorite tag teams in the independent scene. They're fantastic. In my opinion, they're not overrated, but like they're kind of underrated as well because a lot of people know who they are, but I feel like a lot of people should know who MSP are, and they're really I know they're really working hard to put their names more out there, which I know they have no problems with at all. They could do it like that. Uh, what were your thoughts when you went to an independent show for Limitless and you first seen these guys called MSP? What was your reaction to them?
So my first Limitless show was when it was still the 3 of them,
Yep,
um, and they were, like, automatic favorites. Like, I just, like, loved, their group name. I liked that they paid tribute to the state of Maine. I loved the way they wrestled and, like, their moveset, and, um, so when I found out that the 3 of them were going to be 3 of my trainers, I was like,
oh shit, this is awesome, but
"Yeah,
holy shit, kind of nerve-wracking.
yeah." But they like, the 3 of them, Danger Kid and Aiden Agro and Alexander Lee are amazing. They really are. Um, I am just really lucky that I found the Limitless Dojo and that was the place that I got to start training, because I've just gotten so many opportunities from it, and I've found a really great group of trainers and a really great group of friends, um, MSP included.
Of course.
So yeah, it's just crazy to think about, how it's been almost 2 years since I started now.
Wow, that is kind of crazy. That's incredible. Like I said, MSP is a one of my favorite tag teams in the independent scene. For everyone listening and watching, if you don't know who MSP are, Main State Posse, please, I beg of you, please go check them out because they are good. They are so good. I go to a lot of Northeast wrestling shows, and when MSP, this was when there was all three of them, Alexander Lee included with the other two. When I first saw them, I was like, I know them. Holy shit, it's MSP. No fucking way. I was so happy for them. I was like, yo, good for them because I know they worked hard. They work hard to get to where they are, and Northeast Wrestling is definitely something that they deserve. And I cannot wait. Speaking of Northeast Wrestling, I can't wait to go to a show again. It's been officially a year since I've been to one. That is the longest time I've been without that promotion since I want to say 2018, I think. Yeah. I've been to every single show in Bethany in 2018 and 2019. Try 2020, but like COVID. Uh, there's so much. Speaking of Northeast wrestling, there's so much independent scenes in the Northeast. What are some names? What are some promotions that you want Jessie Nolan to get to wrestle for?
I mean, ideally, I'd love to wrestle for Limitless, like, not just on the road, but, like, an actual Limitless taping someday. Um, Chaotic would be a really good company to work for. Beyond that is, like, probably very far in the future for me, but that would be a company I would love to be on, because I've been to a couple of their shows, and it's just so fun. Um, yeah, I mean, those are the 3 big ones in this area, at least.
Those are some solid names there. And like I said before, there's so much independent wrestling that you can't name all of them because there's a lot, especially where we are. Uh, after you were done training and everything, how long did it take you to get booked into your first match?
So I trained for, 15 months before
Wow. Oof. I think that's the longest I've ever heard that. That's crazy. Wow.
it did not help, I'll say that.
It didn't help? Oh.
So I started training in May of 2019. I had my first match against Danger Kid, in last fall, so it was about 15 months, and, um, I've only had 9 matches total so far since September. But, the promotions up here in Maine are starting to slowly start back up. Um, so, I've been getting more opportunity. I've been doing some valeting and managing and stuff like that too, which is always fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, I still train. I still train every week. I still go as much as I can. I'm still in the gym all the time. So it's kind of like never ending. Like, you kind of just never stop training, like
Yeah.
always something that you want to keep up with so that, you can, learn new things and stay up with the basics and get better as a wrestler.
Yeah, I love that. You got to wrestle Danger Kid. You said in your debut match. And that's one of your trainers from MSP. Go check them out, nerds. MSP. Don't forget, I'm watching you. Go do it right now. I'm just kidding. But I feel like a lot of people who start wrestling should wrestle their trainer in their debut match. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I am super happy that I got to wrestle Danger Kid. And then, last week, was it last week or the week before, I wrestled Alexander on the road,
Look at that. Yeah.
one of my trainers. Um, they obviously in a match with them, they know what you're capable of and they know your move set. And so I got beat both times.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey, they were great matches. They were fantastic. The match with your debut match with Danger Kid was fantastic. Like holy shit, like you knocked it out of the park. So good.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. And what, did you wrestle um Aggro yet? I forgot it. God, what the fuck? No, I didn't forget his name, but Aggro. Did you get to wrestle Aggro yet?
I have not had the chance to wrestle him yet. Um,
Damn.
Yeah, he's wild. He's, like, super athletic and fast and crazy in a good way. Um, so I'd be a little nervous. I mean, obviously, I was really nervous to get in the ring with Danger Kid because he's amazing, and Alexander Lee is amazing, also underrated, one of those
Yes.
very underrated wrestlers. Um, but yeah, no, I would love to wrestle Aiden Agro someday. I'm sure that it'll happen sooner rather than later.
I'm pretty sure too. And Aiden, if you're listening, I promise I didn't forget your name. I just it's a lot of names to remember, bro. So if you're watching or listening, I'm sorry, homie. Don't hate me. Yeah, but I'm waiting for that match with you against Aiden Agro. I feel like a lot of people of the fans of the road are as well. I feel like a lot of people are really invested in Jessie Nolan. And they are excited to see what's in store for Jessie Nolan. You named all these promotions, and you're already doing your thing on Limitless, and I'm sure a lot of people hope to see you at a Limitless show taping with actual fans. Like I said, I've never been to a Limitless show, and I've always wanted to go, and I really do hope to go at some point. It just sucks they won't come to Connecticut. Do you think obviously Limitless is just Maine, but do you see them traveling outside of Maine?
I think that they did at one point. They did
Really?
go with Blitzkrieg.
Yes, that was one time. Yeah, no, yeah, that was one time. I forgot about that. Yeah, wait, I did forget about that. But like, I know they did a Limitless and Blitzkrieg Super Show, which I was there for that show. How do I forget that? Like, how do I forget about like I knew it was at that show. I just forgot it was like a Limitless wrestling show.
Yeah.
Uh, were you there as well for that?
No, that was way before my time of
Oh, so good, so good. That's when I got to see WWE's August Gray, Anthony Green at the time. Really skyrocket his career because I met Anthony Green, August Gray, way before he became the retro AG. I met him as a referee in 2012. So it was I knew AG for a long time, and I'm so happy for him. But no, that show, that Blitzkrieg and Limitless show, oh my god, so good but so long. I think it was like 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was just it was nuts. It was crazy. Was it 3 hours? It was like 3 4 hours, and because there was like all the guys from Limitless, all the guys from Blitzkrieg doing their thing, and I think I forgot who won that night. It kind of sucks that I forgot. I think Limitless. No, I think Blitzkrieg won. Uh, but yeah, sorry, I'm going off topic there a little bit. Other than wrestling, Jessie Nolan, what else do you like? Do you like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu?
Um, yeah, I mean, I like Netflix. I'm like so I'm super into the gym. Like, I, like, really love the gym, and so I come home before I go to the gym, and I watch people work out on YouTube. My
Yeah, I can't say the same. Yeah, no, I
'Cause I always like to, like, spice up my workouts and find new things that'll, to try. Because if you do the same thing all the time, it gets kinda boring. Um, but yeah, I mean, I watch some shows on Netflix, like, I've seen, like, Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, like, all those, like, ones that everybody loves. I watched. Oh my gosh, I think
Did you watch Cobra Kai?
no.
Oh, you gotta watch Cobra Kai.
Well, funny
Come
story
on.
is that I had never seen The Karate Kid until like 6 months ago.
I was gonna say you don't have to watch the Karate Kid to watch Cobra Kai. A lot of people think you do. I mean, it's good to know, but you don't have to watch it. You literally just have to know like the kind of like a little bit of the background, but it's not like you have to know every single thing. I haven't watched the Karate Kid since I was like 7, and I mean, I watching the Karate Kid. I know Johnny, I knew Danny, and I knew Danny beat Johnny in the tournament when they were kids. That's all I had to know. I mean, they just watch it from there.
Yeah.
But it's so good. We actually have some questions from first question from Ashley. She says, "Have you ever watched someone train new people that you know shouldn't be training new people?"
Like a trainer that shouldn't be training,
Yeah,
I think.
right.
Um, Not at my school. I mean, we just have the same trainers um, all the time. But I mean, I've seen people who try to train who probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that was the next question. I think that's the question she was probably trying to ask. Maybe if not, sorry. Yeah, but like I'm sure you've seen people step into the ring that should not be stepping into the ring. To put it kind of nicely, what were your thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, I get that some people like really want to try it and good on them for trying. Like, I feel like if you want to try something that, like, even wrestling, go ahead and
Right.
try it. But it really isn't for everyone. It really isn't. And, um, I it takes a lot of courage to try it too. So like I wouldn't knock on anyone that tries for sure. But some people just come one class and then they're like, "Oh, never mind."
I love that. I love that. But hey, kudos to them for trying because
Yeah.
they did something I would never want to do is step into the ring and take a back bump or anything like that because I know that shit hurts. I want to go back just a little bit to ask you one more question. A lot of wrestlers who train once they take their first back bump, once they run the ropes for the first time, they get that kind of like adrenaline of like, yeah, this is where I belong. What was your reaction after your first back bump? Or what was the first thing that Alexander had you do in the ring?
We did rolls, I think, first. So I think we did pretty much we did rolls, we did bumps, and then we did rope running all in my first class, if I remember correctly. It's been a while.
No,
Um,
of course.
the rolls were okay. I handled them a lot better than I thought my body would. The bumps were scary, very scary, and they do hurt. Um, but I just after that class, I was like, okay, I knew that there was like an initial period where it was going to be really hard, and you kind of have to like get over that hill before you really start being able to do more serious things.
Of
But like,
course.
yeah, class, I was like, you know what? I want to do this. I want this. I wasn't afraid of it. Like, it didn't scare me away or anything. So yeah, I mean, it's been almost 2 years and I'm still going.
That's incredible. And once this whole COVID shit is over and once everything is done, it seems like it's kind of gradually, slowly going away. We can only hope. Fans are able to go to wrestling shows again, and people are starting to do their thing. WrestleMania is going to have a crowd this year, which is a big plus because watching WrestleMania last year was absolutely hard to
Yeah.
watch,
Yeah.
uh, especially those 2 nights. But I think you stuck through it. I stuck through it. Everyone listening or watching, they stuck through it, and I'm pretty sure every single person is excited to see a 25,000 may seem like a lot, but for WrestleMania, it's not. But just to see, compared to like 100,000 people, but just to have some sort of energy in the crowd. And I feel like this year's WrestleMania is not going to be, it's not hyped as much, but every single fan there is going to be on their feet. They're going to be just so happy to finally be at a WWE show. And this is going to be probably not the best WrestleMania ever, but it's going to be one of the record books for sure.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Hopefully WrestleMania is good. Hopefully they don't let us down this year, like they did for the past couple years. Anyway, Jesse, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was a lot of fun. Don't worry about your dogs. Don't worry about your cats. It's all good. Everyone's sticking around. I don't mind it. I have dogs too, but they're upstairs. Really quick, of course, as always, tell the nerds where they can find the girl on fire, Jessie Nolan.
So I have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all at Jessie Nolan. And I try to post on there pretty frequently. I'm still learning the ropes of the Twitter world. But yeah, go ahead and give me a follow, and you will get to see my training journey as I continue.
There you go, nerds. Go follow the Jessie Nolan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You're very lucky because a lot of people are able to get the same handle. So you got lucky with that. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and I'll definitely have you on again in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. All right, nerds. This has been an episode of What's Up Wrestler, a podcast by Nerds of Wrestling. I am your host, Justin Del Rio. Peace out.